I'll do a quick update on the pond. It's been a while. What's new? So my continual search for more efficient pumps. The DC drive pumps, you know, the DC 1224 volt pumps have been out on the aquarium side now for a couple of years. They're low voltage, variable speed, and use typically about a third of the wattage as your typical AC pumps are that we're used to. The pond industry is just now getting into this. There are some out, but most of them don't go above 4,000 gallons per hour or so. So I did replace my main waterfall pump with a newer. Anyway, I did replace the waterfall pump with a newer pump. It pumps a little more water, but uses about 150 watts less. The one that's in there now is a 6,300 gallon per hour, and it's using less than 200 watts, which is a good departure from the 426 watts my Alpine Cyclone was using. And don't get me wrong, those Alpine Cyclone pumps are great pumps. They've been my go-to for years. I typically get minimally 5 years out of them running 24/7. And the ones that usually die are due to neglect and abuse and being run dry and plugged full of seaweed and algae and whatnot. So anyway, I've replaced that pump. I replaced my bottom filter pump over here. I had a Alpine Cyclone 3,200 gallon per hour pump using 260 watts maybe. This is a DC pump running also 3,200 gallons, but 85 watts. Now I will say, with about 5 foot of head on it, my old Alpine pumped about 200 gallons an hour more, but quite frankly I'm not willing to sacrifice 110 watts thrown to the wind for 200 gallons an hour. I could literally run 2 of these pumps on here for less than that one was costing me. So my lilies sucked this year because the weather has been horrible. Last week it was 50 degrees at night, and they don't like the cold weather at all. And then the last 2 days it's been 90 here. So my pond temperature, my water, as you can see, is upper 80s right now. And it was literally 62, 64 a week ago. So, and I now notice with the glare, I'm not going to be able to see anything in here. Walk around the shadows here somewhere. There we go. Went to the koi show last week, and there was a koi show locally here. And a couple of the neighboring states, breeders that I'm familiar with, had some decent looking fish. Not that I need any more, because I've actually gave away 5, 6, 8, I don't know, out of here last week. Just trying to thin the herd, because the bog over there is literally loaded with fry. They're self-culling, as I call it, and you can go look over there and see 100 of them at any given time. So anyway, went there late Sunday as everyone was closing up and making deals because no one wanted to haul fish home. Ended up picking up 3 Japanese koi. I have 7 in here that I suspect are Japanese koi that were rehomed from a pond I shut down. Their coloration is good, but their size says they're not. So I think they may be a Japanese hybrid. These 3 I just picked up are from guaranteed Japanese stock. That's one of them. Yeah, one of them. That guy right there. And yeah, there's 3 of them in here. They're about 6 inches long. But if they are Japanese koi, by this time next year they'll be the biggest fish in here. So we'll see. Other than that, not a whole lot new. I'm just waiting for the weather to behave so the bog will finally fill in. Typically that whole thing is all filled with mint by now, and half the pond over there is typically filled with lily pads. But when it's 50 degrees at night, nothing wants to grow. What is growing is my complete overrun plethora of milkweed. We do monarch raising as well. So when you see the monarch caterpillars, you go grab them, take them inside, put them in a cage, feed them, they crystallize up, you hang them, they hatch, and then you let them go. That way they don't get eaten by birds, and it's supposed to really help the population. So we started that a year or so ago and planted some milkweed. And as anyone knows, milkweed is evasive, but I don't care because it's for the butterflies. But at some point I'm going to have to address this and start taking this out because I'm pretty sure it's going to overrun my house. I guess at this point I should show you said butterflies. This is also milkweed. So every morning my girlfriend comes out here and looks for caterpillars. Brings them in here. Where we have a staging area over there for the caterpillars. And then once they J-hang and crystallize, they go up here. So these guys are all waiting to hatch. Takes them about 2 weeks. You'll know when they turn black. And they hop out. They dry and pump out their wings. And then they'll be in here waiting to be set free. So, monarchs, big fun. Mind the mess out here. Because my bog has been slacking off, my filters have been way dirtier than they typically are. My 3-barrel system here, obviously my moving bed never gets cleaned. Typically once we're in season, my static bed, my main #1 static bed here for my big solids, I clean it like once a week. I've been cleaning it daily. And it's just catching so much algae. And my waterfall stack over there, that filter, I typically only clean that maybe 3 or 4 times a year. I've probably cleaned it 3 times so far this year. Again, just loaded with algae because of the lack of pond plants and the cold weather and nothing wants to grow. You guys aren't using these things to control your pumps and air pumps and whatnot? You should. So remote control. The outdoor boxes, the plugins will actually handle like 20 amps, which is pretty impressive for a little $30 remote control unit. That's about enough for now. Later.